everybody. Tried to make it kind of like a TV show. Sorry for getting on here a couple minutes after 8. It's funny how many things you need to plug back in when you haven't been in your office in a while. So I can just put the brightness up here. Good, you can't see how messy my office is right now. Just wait a few minutes for more people to hop in here. Also get my Facebook up running. Gemma, how's it going? Good to see you. Thanks for joining tonight. Just getting the Tense Machine Facebook page up here so I can actually see messages and comments. Cindy, how's it going? There is a live stream with me. So I'm just trying to get the video up on Facebook so I can see the comments. How's everyone doing? Dylan, how's it going? Ashley, how's it going? Brian, yes, it has been a while. It's been a few days. Beth, how's it going? Alright, I don't know how to get the feed to come up here. Maybe it'll be... That's fine. I'll just go to the Facebook page. I can just read from there. Mike Jones commented on the tour beard. Actually, I had more beard before I went out on tour. Because we had to do a... I don't want to say we had to do a photo shoot, but we definitely needed to do a photo shoot. And I was looking at the beard that I had like at the time, and it was just a little too much. And the way we wanted to do black and white pictures, and like the thing about black and white pictures, sometimes either you have a beard that's got a little bit more volume to it, and it looks more beardy, or it just looks like someone just put marker on your face. So I had to kind of find the happy medium and just trim it down a little bit. So. It doesn't work like the playoffs. No, I will. We're talking about tour beards right now. I've seen some musicians come back from tour, and you can tell there's a moment on the tour where they decided, I just want to shave here and that's it, and not worry about it. Yeah, I just have the clippers, so it's pretty easy. Wes, it's always shouting out the Burger Rage. If anyone hasn't seen it, Wes Styles did a podcast with him, and I think of the 45 minutes we were chatting, we talked about the Burger Rage story, featuring Dane Hartzell, for probably 25 minutes of the 45 minutes we were talking. It was pretty good. Nobody got hurt. It all ended well, but yeah, you don't get your post-show burgers, it can be pretty bad. Scan through here quickly. Liz, how's it going? Thanks again for coming out. Season shows. So yeah, Tense Machine. Just actually, I should do one shout out here. If you notice this hat, Top Fuel Saloon, Braywood, Illinois. Freak from Q107 or QWalk 107. He runs that place. Amazing host. Anyways, he saw the hat that I was wearing, and his facial expression, he was not pleased with the hat I was wearing. It was just a basic black toque. And he said, you need a slouchy. And I did not know what that meant. And so he went over to one of the rooms at the venue, pulled at this toque, and he looked at it and looked at me, and he said, you gotta wear it. And that's fine. I'm definitely capable of wearing a hat. But he made me promise him that I would wear it. So I've been wearing it at the shows. And Freak, if you're watching, got it on again. Top Fuel Saloon, excellent venue. A lot of fun there, great stage, great sound. Super good food, by the way, as well. If you like burgers, speaking of Burger Age, if you like burgers, that's a good place to go. Cindy's asking, would you go clean shaven? Probably not at this point in my life. Um, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of what my face actually looks like. I haven't seen it in decades now. Um, so yeah, Tense Machine, our first tour. Shout out to Nick Bell at 19 Booking for setting that up, and shout out to the guys in the Lakeshore Camp. Let us come out with them. We had a blast. They're super nice band. Toured enough. Not all bands are created equal. Not all bands um, are pleasant right off the bat. It was jokes as soon as everyone got out of the van, which I think is the foot you want to get off on with bands. Just assume everyone's nice. Assume everybody wants the best for everybody, because you're gonna be in close quarters. Not as close quarters when you're actually in the band, but definitely close quarters when you're seeing the same people every day. And for any bands that are watching, if you run into bands that aren't particularly nice to deal with, just give them their space. That's all you can really do. But no, everyone was super nice. I had fun. Definitely one of the highlights. Um, Again, you probably shouldn't do this because you're trying to leave a small footprint in hotels. But the hotel that they'd booked one night, on one of the days off, their pool wasn't working, and so Dane invited them over to our hotel. So we had a bit of a pool party going on at the hotel. And I'm sure people walking by the pool area were wondering what is going on in there, because for anyone that knows Dane, Dane's a pretty good host, and he's also the life of the party. So um, you combine that, like one band and another band, and yeah, it turns into GoPros and cannonballs, and it's pretty good. So that was a lot of fun. It was good just be able to hang out and just kind of talk about whatever, but also talk about the business side, because Lakeshore is just getting up and running, and obviously Tense Machine just getting up and running as well. And there's just a lot of information to kind of trade back and forth. Things that work that are working, things that aren't working, and yeah, no, it was pretty fun. So I was gonna check the messages here quick. Brendan's saying hi to BJ for me. Brendan's gonna, I don't know if I should say this, but Brendan's gonna be live streaming tomorrow, and Dane's gonna live stream on the Wednesday. So if you're looking for someone to sing songs or possibly play guitar, I don't know if Dane's gonna do that, but that's worth waiting around for. Because also we were chatting about it in the van. I usually do a pretty involved tour blog. Because the way things are right now, it's like I need to pick sleep over the 2 hours it would take me to write a tour blog and then edit it and then post it and pictures and all that stuff. So I just kind of kept a journal of some of the highlights from the day, and I was thinking about it, like it'd be cool if we could kind of get together and do a recap of the tour, and we're all kind of back to work as soon as we got home. And I thought, it'd maybe be good if we all could kind of hop on here and kind of give our perspective of touring, because we're not all in the same place at the same time, and we do not have all the same perspective on some of these stories at the same time. So it's kind of fun if people can hear the different sides of what's going on. Definitely with some of the stories. I was checking the messages here. One of the messages, Mindy said there weren't more people at Route 20. They missed it for sure. You know what? It's obviously bands want to play to full rooms, but a band in this position where, like, realistically, it kind of launched in May last year, but until we were in a position to get on the road and start playing some shows, it's kind of not real yet. And even though Dead Set had some success in some of the markets that we played, we're not expecting everyone to show up, and we saw a lot of familiar faces, but we're not expecting everyone to show up at those shows, and it's going to be a bit of a grind to get things going again, and that's totally okay. But with the crowd, you'd rather play to 5 people who really want to hear you than 500 people that don't, if that makes sense. So we had a blast at the shows we were playing. Um, yeah, it's as much, especially when a band gets out and plays its first shows or its first tour. It's just as much for the band on stage as it is for the people that are in attendance, because there's a lot of things that dead set. You play 200 shows, because again, I played like close to 200 shows with Brendan and Dane. It's like there's a lot of little things you don't even need to talk about when you're on stage. There's a lot of visual cues. There's a lot of just physical cues and stuff of what's going on. But with the lineup right now, it's like you need to feel things out a little bit, and like you need to do that on stage. So that being said, it's nicer to do that in front of 30 people or 50 people than 5,000 people or 1,000 people. So I've seen bands work that stuff out on stage, and it's definitely more difficult when there's more people there. Jason Carey is asking, where's your coin? It's on my desk. Still got the Blackhawks coin. And this is one of the coolest things I've received. Jason Carey sent out the random acts of coolness with the horns there. Thanks again for that, Jason. Much appreciated. I'm just looking at Nick Bell's here. Nick, I shouted you out earlier. Thanks again for booking the tour and helping out a new band. Much appreciated. It's an official Facebook like on Facebook Live here. Gemma's asking best part of the tour. I've been thinking about this today. This is a not exciting one, but getting our visas back in our passports, that feeling was awesome, because like it's really hard to be a rock band in the Canadian market, and having access to the American market and being able to tour in the US, like that makes things not even 10 times but like 20 times better, possibly even 50 times better. And that's not even a US Canadian conversion or anything. That's just straight up. It's so much better when you're able to go down there and play shows. Nothing against the Canadian market, but when you're trying to tour and the logistics of trying to get from city to city, because again, like, places like Winnipeg or Saskatoon or Regina, it's like it's really difficult to route over to them without coming up through the States and be able to pop up and pop back down. But having access to the U.S. Market, it makes such a huge difference, and just personally, that the feelings were there, and I was like, yeah, this is good. We're able to get back to work in a way. I would say highlight of the actual tour, Chicago, Illinois. Okay, there's two, because every night had highlights. Chicago, Illinois, because management showed up, and again, it's one thing playing in front of friends and family, but when management's there, and you've got high expectations of things, and you just hope that you play well, and personally and the band, you hope everything goes the way you want it. You hope there's no gear malfunctions or just weird left field events that go on, because we want it to be really good. And I thought we played really, really well that night, and the management was excited about it. And they stuck through the waiting for things, because they've been waiting for the Tense Machine record, and they got an advance copy of kind of what to expect on that one. They're really excited about that too. So just the vibe of everybody on both camps after that, it was a moment where, like, let's see where we can go with this. And yeah, the other best part of the tour, I know I'm naming off like three parts, the best parts of the tour. Twisted Spoke on Pekin, Illinois. Just the amount of familiar faces there. There's definitely some shows where you look into the audience, and from an introvert like myself, it's nice looking at the audience. You don't recognize anybody, because mentally I can go, it doesn't matter that much. I don't really know them. I'm just gonna do my best, and that's cool. But when you look out and kind of everybody, it's awesome, because it's cool seeing familiar faces, and also it's terrifying, because you're just like, I don't want to suck up here. I want everything to be awesome. So yeah, just the amount of familiar faces, and Twisted Spoke's kind of, I don't want to say second home, but like played enough shows there, and just the vibe, food, bar staff, Jeremy does sound there. bring them out as much as we can. There was just a lot of things that night, especially having a couple days off. Um, yeah, because long story short, Brendan had to fly back to Toronto for a couple days for a couple gigs he couldn't sub out, and so Dane and I were kind of on our own for a bit, which is probably a TV show in itself. Yeah, Dane and Mike driving across America. But yeah, no, it was a couple of days off, and it just got a chance to kind of ground ourselves a little bit after the first couple shows and just tweak a few things. But yeah, that was a highlight as well. I just feel like everyone that walked in the door was just like, I can't believe you're here. So scrolling through the messages here. I'd love to see you tour with Adelita's Way. It's from Beth. Well, Adelaide is on FM, and Tenth Machine's on FM, so it could be a thing. I'd be into it. I'd have fun with those guys. They're really good. Cindy's asking, who does everyone think Tenth Machine should tour with in the future? That's an excellent question. Might actually put that up as a post tomorrow and see if we can get some people interested. Actually, speaking of the tour with, I don't know if everybody saw when the tour started on the 22nd. Rock USA also announced their lineup, and long story short, actually like medium length story short, we so I just ate dinner, so I just got a burp that's like kind of in between. When Rock USA was announced, and when I heard that potentially we could grab a spot on that, part of me was just like, okay, brand new band, hasn't played a show yet, doesn't have a song on the radio yet. We're going off some expectations of the label and the songs and that we've released so far and our engagement. There's a few things that kind of added up, and it was one of those things where when they said, okay, well, like, let's move forward with that and we'll see about getting Tenth Machine a spot on the festival. That was very much, I will believe that when I see it sort of thing. So when I saw that they were announcing on the 22nd, we're in the van, we're driving, and I instantly click on the ad mat. I'm scrolling through it. I'm just like looking for Tenth Machine on there, and I don't see it. And so, like, again, if you've been in music long enough, you're used to things not working out, or like not being as awesome as you think they're going to be. And then I'm scrolling through it. I'm like, okay, we're not on here. Maybe we're like a and more or something. And then I finally get to the end of the Saturday. Slipknot's at the top of it. I'm scanning down, and I see Tenth Machine at the very bottom. And I was just like, heart starts going. I'm like, that's awesome. That's so cool to see that, and to be on that festival ad mat. Even if it's just a poster, and I can just put a little sticky arrow on or something like that. Of course, that led me in a position where we're able to headline that some year. But for now, I will take the lower rung on that pretty awesome ladder to be on. So yeah, we're excited to start the tour and get playing and stuff. It was also kind of a weird feeling in the van. It was like, okay, like we need to be good. We feel like we can be good, but like officially, you really need to be good. So, all right, Jason's off to dinner. Jessica, how's it going? When is your next tour run? It's from Julie. That we will announce as soon as we can. I will say as far as the rest of this year's looking, after May, because we're planning to put the record out in May. Unless something changes, that's the course of action. And as of May, we'll have more flexibility to get out and do some touring. And we're looking to be a support with some of the tours that are heading out. And but yeah, as far as like people have been asking, when are you coming here? When are you coming there? It's really easy to do a couple laps of the country over the span of a few weeks or a couple months, and that's what we're planning on doing. So for all the cities and states that have been dropped in the post we've been having, like, it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. Larry's on here. How's it going, Larry? But yeah, no, overall, like, the tour was a success. Like, we had a lot of fun. We saw growth. We were filming every show Dane and Brennan had GoPros going, and then I had my super high tech cell phone going in some of the venues. So we got a lot of footage, and there's a lot of it's nice from a band, anyone that's in a band, um, especially early on. Even if you've been playing for a long time, if you're a new lineup on stage, film it. You will learn so much about your show if you're able to watch it. And honestly, you don't even need to know what it sounds like. Just watch your show. If it looks boring, it doesn't really matter if it's that good. If you're playing that well, because like we're visual creatures for the most part, and if it looks boring, if you can't bring people in, then visually, like there's going to be some issues there. But just be able to watch the show, watch some of the banter stuff in between stuff, how we're transitioning into songs. Um, it's nice to be able to see that the next day when you're not just thinking about what you thought it looked like or sounded like. So there's a lot of value in being able to do that. Any band that's going out on tour as well, it's like if you can get a quick 7, 10, 12, 15 shows under your belt, you'll get so much better than spending time in the rehearsal space. And that's not a popular opinion with a number of people who I would say are armchair music professionals, are music industry professionals, because they kind of just bark out what they think bands should be doing, which is usually keep writing a better song and keep rehearsing. Honestly, if you want to write better songs, go play them in front of people you don't know. That's the quickest way to know if your music's any good, if it's reacting with people. And then you'll figure out what is reacting, and then you'll start writing more of those songs because they'll react more to it. Also, if your band's not that good or you're not playing that well, um, go on stage and suck a few times, and you'll get way better. You can be crappy and suck all day in the rehearsal space, and there's nobody there to kind of tell it. Like, there's nobody there to say like it wasn't very good. And again, you need the response of people you don't know, because they'll give you your opinion. That's kind of where we're at with, especially with social media. You ask for someone's opinion, you will get hundreds of thousands of people that will potentially chime in on it. So it's good to get it in front of complete strangers. Actually, I'm just gonna mini rant a little bit longer on this whole thing. So there's a lot of music industry where they'll say, get good in your own backyard first, and it's like, no, don't worry about getting good in your own backyard first. Like, go travel and find out where your actual network is. Sorry, just checking something. Go find out where your actual fan base is. That's the thing with things like Spotify. You can see all the analytics there. You can see the data. You can see where people are actually listening to your band or listening to your music. And if you can reach it, try to go tour there. Sorry, I see my wireless is getting a bit funky right now. But yeah, it's definitely something to keep in mind. So there's something to keep in mind with playing shows and stuff. If you're big in your own town, that's great, but it doesn't take that much more to drive 2, 3, 4 hours around your town, especially if you're a band in the U.S. And try to plant some seeds and build a name up for yourself around there as well. So I'm just gonna scroll through some messages here. Austin Tyler Williams is here. How's it going? Jeremy Isbell. All Cobras. If anyone's wondering about what the All Cobras thing is all about, a friend asked if we wanted any snakes at the show. I can't remember the exact wording, but it was autocorrect changed snacks to snakes. So I can't remember if Brendan or Dane that mentioned it. I think it was Dane. And so I instantly responded in true, Mike fashion, all Cobras. So Kim brought a cake that said Tense Machine, all Cobras, with our names on it. I think there's a picture of it online. It may be a thing. It may be a thing for the long term. That you just don't know it at the time sometimes. Just scrolling through here. Steve Burke Jr., how's it going? Any other questions about the tour? I kind of went over the bulk of it again. It was a pretty good time. Vehicle was good for any band people on here. That's like, I always say when people ask what touring's like, I say touring's, it's fine. Everything's fine till it's not fine. And one of the things that loves to not be fine is your vehicle. We were lucky we could do this tour with just the van. We didn't need to bring a trailer with us, and that lowers some of the issues that you could potentially have. Um, yeah, there's no flat tires. I will say I almost ran out of gas once. It felt like, because we've got the like a digital reader on the van that says how many kilometers are left in your tank. And I just like, you know what, I'm just like, we're pretty close to where we need to go. So once it gets below 100 kilometers, like, I'm just going to see if we can just squeeze out the rest of it. Because, um, on the Google Maps versus the kilometers we had, I kept checking, keep an eye on both of them. And I'm like, okay, well, probably like 37 kilometers left or something. Like, we should be okay. And then it hit like the high 50s, and then it flipped over to like low fuel, like, you need gas right now sort of thing. And so I got a bit nervous because Brendan's sleeping, and Dane's beside me, and I'm kind of just like, I'm just keeping it because Dane can't see the thing that I could see, and I remember thinking like, I cannot be the guy who's like got, way over prepared for border crossings, got logistics all figured out, um, handling the receipts and financials. Like, I can't be the guy that the one time basically driving, because Brendan does a lot of the driving, and Brendan's sleeping right now because he's had a crazy 48 hours. I can't be the guy that runs out of freaking gas when you had like 7 hours to get gas. So that was like, I don't think it wasn't as crazy as that, but internally that's where my brain kind of went. It was just like, okay, you're going to be the guy that ran out of gas when you had all the opportunities in the world in the middle of the middle of the afternoon to stop for gas, sort of thing. So luckily we arrived where we needed to be, but it hit a point where like I didn't even want to hit the gas. I was just kind of coasting as I was trying to conserve fuel, just in case we actually didn't have the, you know, 30 minutes of drive time left, and we only had like 3 or 5 minutes to get to where we needed to go. Life sometimes. But yeah, no, there's no issues. Nobody got sick. That was the one thing that I was really surprised with, because especially this time of year, you go out on tour and like someone's got a cold, someone's got the flu, and then it's just a matter of time until it works through everybody. You try to stay hydrated, you try to sleep, try to keep wash your hands, you try to keep hand sanitizer going all the time, try to keep your fruit and veggie intake as high as it can be. But it's usually inevitable that someone's gonna get sick, and it was just like, we're on the way home. I'm just thinking like, I can say this now, like, nobody got sick because we're so close to home right now. So that was nice too, because yeah, touring can be pretty miserable when you're all sniffly and not feeling well. Dane was coming off a bit of a cold when we went out, but yeah, he got better obviously as we were going along. Because I'm not a singer and I've never been one, but I can only imagine how uncomfortable um, touring can be if you don't feel like your voice is there, or you're stuffed up, or whatever. Um, Actually, there's a post I shared today. It's a survey talking about mental health of musicians and touring and stuff, and one of the comments was like, I think it'd be really physically draining. The thing is like, the mental part can slip. You can get depressed, you can get lonely, you can get homesick. But the thing is like, there's a lot of pressure on musicians to perform, and I can only imagine if you're a singer and you don't feel like your voice is there, and if you get sick and you really don't feel like your voice is there, um, you're just going on stage and you're not feeling like you're giving people your best, and mentally, like, that can be draining. Like, imagine the one part of the day, especially in a support act, where there might be 23 and a half hours of the day you're not on stage, and you can only imagine if all you're thinking is the dread of going up there and just sounding like not at your best. And that can take its toll on you. Or you get off stage and you're just like, yeah, I'm sick, guys, like, I tried my best. um, I know that on show days, as much as I do like my pools and hot tubs, I do know on show days it's like, I can't overdo it or else my body feels like jello. It's a little too relaxed, and it's really difficult to play when your arms and legs, everything just feels it just feels like jello and stuff like that. So yeah, so there's the physical side of touring, but yeah, the mental side, like, that goes first, especially if morale starts to dip in the camp. You play some shows and they don't go well, or you're mad about attendance, or there's a riff in the band, or if there's just riff between bands. There's just a lot of things that can kind of play into bringing morale down when you're on the road. So it's one thing to be out and physically not feel at your best, but still mentally be in a good spot, versus not being mentally in a good spot. Everything else is going to get dragged down with it. Just going through the messages here. Any other questions about the tour? Questions about the record? Questions about the rest of the year? Debbie's saying, so glad I got to hear you guys. Can't wait to see you again. Excellent. We had a lot of fun. The shows were good, and we all felt the same thing after the first show in Watertown. Like, we were really excited to play again. Like pretty excited to get back on stage the next day. I will say, yeah, we had to drop Brendan at the airport in New York after we did Brooklyn. Sorry, video burp here. After the show in Brooklyn, and I got to drive out of New York, and that was like, I like highway driving. I hate city driving, so driving out in New York felt like the worst of both worlds, because the lanes are super narrow and there's tons of construction, and Google Maps has no really, like, less of an idea where to go because so many things are, more or less on top of each other. So driving out of New York, luckily it was late enough at night, it wasn't super busy, but just like all I was waiting for was just to get onto the interstate and away from there. And yeah, any bands that are watching this as well, don't spend more time in big cities than you have to. A lot of things can go wrong in bigger cities. Question, Debbie's asking when the CD be up. We're still aiming for May. Very much aiming for May. There's a lot of, like, the radio campaign we're trying to put together. Pre-sale, which I know I keep pushing it back, but tentatively we're going to look at March, put the record out in May, and then stay out pretty busy May onwards, especially going into July where Rock USA is. We're kind of using that as an anchor around some of our tour plans. That's pretty awesome. Gemma's asking, was it weird touring without Reed? Like, we've all been in a lot of bands over the years. There's just different formations of projects and stuff. Definitely, like, obviously with Dean and Brendan, and then Reed being the fourth with Dead Set, it's like there's definitely times when there's certain dynamics where you're just one, like, it just feels tweaked. It just feels a little bit different. So, like, it wasn't at the point where you think you left him at a gas station or he's in a hotel still. But it's just definitely little things because you're so used to your routines and stuff. And, yeah, it's just a minor tweak to your mindset when you're doing certain things. That being said, too, it's just like on stage, like that to me, where it was kind of weird at times because, like, the way we were set up, it's still Brendan, myself, and Dane, which how Dead Set was set up. So there's times when, like, you forget there isn't somebody in front of you, which in a way it's nice because that means I can get in a few more pictures, but at the same time it's just realizing how the dynamic is across the stage. It's a little different now. Austin's asking, have you named the album? Or sorry, do you have the album named? Not yet. Again, tentatively, although I'm certain it's going to be changed. I'm now naming it All Cobras in my computer here. But again, I'm almost 100% sure that that's not what the actual album will be called. Oh, turn my camera on 1 second. There we go. Will you have a new album for sale on the next round of tour? Yeah, like in May, once we get out, they'll have physical copies. We'll do a pre-sale. As far as before that, not before that, but there's a couple other shows we're trying to chip away at and see if they need some support for that are pretty good and within striking distance of Toronto. Beth is asking, these are good band questions. Do you ever worry about your van being broken into while on the road? Every day, all the time. Talked with Blacklight District and they were robbed twice. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think Dead Set was lucky in a way. I know I had my stuff stolen in Abilene, Texas, but that was from the merch table. Again, a lot of things have to add up for those opportunities to happen, um, and unless everything's attached to you all the time, it it's your someone's cards getting pulled every day in a band. I'm certain of it. Things getting stolen or taken. But as far as the van, like I think we're lucky with Dead Set because our trailer said heating and cooling on it. It didn't say band trailer. It didn't say music gear inside. And I know a lot of bands have the logo and stuff on the trailer, and I think that's cool. But realistically, you're just telling people what is in the trailer. And if you're a musician in your band on tour, you don't want to draw attention where you don't have to. Um, like even when I see bands loading out and stuff, and like people are like, I know you're at a venue, but people are shouting and talking really loud about basically we have gear. All it takes is one person to walk by and check the door handle, and now they're into your vehicle. All it takes is one person that maybe has a crowbar or something to pop the side door open on a band or to break one of the windows. Like there's just a lot of things where don't draw more attention to yourselves than you need to, because like when you're on tour, you need all of your pieces of gear. And if you don't have it, you need to either replace it as fast as possible, or it makes things incredibly inconvenient. I can't remember the exact phrasing or how it came up, but a friend was talking about his lawyer because he was trying to get something back from another producer, like some files and stuff, and he basically said like most of anything in life is possession, and it's way easier to hang on to something than to get it back. So if you're on the road and you're a band and you're thinking let's spray paint, or do a big logo on the side of our trailer or our band stuff, I would vote 1,000 times out of 1,000, don't do it. Be inconspicuous. You don't need to let people know what's in there. And, even in your van, like if you've got stuff in there, don't let logos face the window. Cover everything up. Like protect your vehicle, protect your gear. So yeah, answer Beth's question again. Do you ever worry about being broken into on the road? Every day, all day. And if you can we park our vehicles as close as we can to our windows in hotels. Park in a way that you can see it from the venue if you can. Like, just keep an eye on it. I feel for any band out there that's had stuff stolen, or even just musicians in general that have their guitar stolen out of their car or something. They're parked downtown, or it just sucks. Just reading here. Cindy's asking, does it feel weird that some people associate you with so many bands? Not really. I think it's good. I think it's a good thing. Like, in one way, it'd be nice to be in one band for like 30 years. And the other way, it's like, well, a lot of bands, not say come and go, but like, there's a lot of cycles for bands. And sometimes you're part of the cycle as it's going, and sometimes, the schedules don't line up, or there's changes of what people want to do. Again, Dane, if he's watching, Dane's fired me 3 times from his band. So, but then I got to join his all-female band, so that was pretty fun. Great players at that. But no, it's not weird having played in a lot of bands over the years. And again, like the like where things left off, like both sides kind of knew what was going on. It wasn't bad. It wasn't hostile or anything like that. So I take it as a compliment. It's fun going out with different bands. Cindy said it's also too expensive to get insurance on your equipment. No, you need to get some of your stuff insured, dude. Like, it's a necessary evil. And, especially Canadian bands going to the States, your OHIP, your Ontario Health Insurance Plan, it does not cover you out of province. So even if you go to Edmonton, or even if you go to Halifax, like, you still need to get travel insurance. So don't risk that. You don't want to end up the creek just because you didn't spend the $50 or whatever it is to get some health insurance. Just to finish the talk about Dane firing me 3 times from his band. I'll not be sarcastic. It really got down to management wanting to go different directions with the musicians, and there's not much you can do in certain cases like that because Dane, under management at the time, they've got a vision for what they want the product to be. And when you're a hired gun, so to speak, to come in and play certain things, like musicians are going to fight for the people that want in their band, but like when they know what they're looking for. In this case in particular, they thought it'd be really cool if you had all female band, which is fantastic. But when someone wants an all female band, um, you might get let go if you're me. That being said, later on I did come back into the fold, and there was an article in particular talking about Dane Harsill and his all female band. And I was sitting in the background and I was just like, that's fine. Actually, so excellent producer guitarist Hill was playing in that band as well. I think she was playing bass at the time, and Donna Grantis, who went on to play in Prince's was it Third Eye Girl? She was there as well, and I think I learned the most from working with Donna for a few months than probably any other musician I've ever played with. I remember, like, when you're counting songs in, usually you count to 4. And it was the very first rehearsal. I think it was the second time running through one of the tunes, like the second time playing through a song. And Donna instantly stopped me, and she's like, I just need 2. I was like, okay, start playing. And I just thought it was funny, because it's like, she doesn't need to count to 4. She just needs the duration between 2 notes, and we're good. We can start playing. So, again, just little things like that, where you work with a pro, and you're like, yeah, okay, like, this is good. Just looking through the notes here. Again, when I always refer to Dane firing me 3 times, like it's with love. I totally understand the situation, and it wasn't like a bad thing. It was just funny, but I can say that and pass the polygraph. Brian's saying, glad to see you guys working on some new stuff. Yep, no, new stuff's been worked on. It's done. Just gotta go to mastering, more or less. Savannah Marie is asking, I'm a singer. How about would I start off to take off? I think you're talking about how you launch your career. Honestly, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. There's lots of information on YouTube about how to launch careers these days. You don't need much. Cindy's asking, you think you can tour with an all-female band in the future? All options are there. Hopefully Dane doesn't replace Brendan and myself with all-female band again, because we're having a lot of fun right now. But oh man, it's been 45 minutes already. Any other questions? I should probably wrap this up soon. Again, the first 10 Spin tour with Lakeshore was a lot of fun, a lot of success, a lot of memories already. We did 2 kind of guerrilla style photo shoots. One of them was just outside the venue. I think we got a picture on Instagram where it's just like, it's my phone on a tripod. And we're like, let's just try this and see if we can get something from it. And then there was another one we did, one of the pool areas had like a light, like an LED light that changed colors and stuff. So it was 11 o'clock at night, and I was like, all right, put your blacks on. We're going to go try and do a quick photo shoot. And only take 5 or 10 minutes. So I might post a picture after from it, but it's funny because when you get some cool angles, you're like, okay, no, this can work. We can get something from this. Because it doesn't really cost us anything. It's just a little bit of time. And there's these 2 kids that were running by the pool area and looking in at us. And that's when, as someone in your mid-30s, you feel a little bit like a loser. But at the same time, you're like, this is for the greater good. Like, we might get something decent from this. So yeah, that was kind of fun too. Again, like when you're on tour, like, for better or worse, like, just say yes to some of the opportunities you have. Like, if you see something cool, like, try to get some pictures in front of it. They might not work out, but just try it anyways. Go, meet people, stop in new places if you can. You take the little bit of time to take some detours to see some of the sights. It's worth it. All right, I think I got time for one more question. Anyone's got a question? Again, I appreciate everyone hopping on here. Brendan's going to be on here tomorrow night, and then Dane's going to be on Wednesday night. So it's just going to ramp up. Favorite musician to do a duet with? I'm not even sure about that one. Cause rock's kind of weird. Like, you don't really do duets or co-band things in the rock world. I would still just like to, like, personally, I'd still like to, you know, mix a Deftones record and produce a Hives record and stuff. Mix a Gorillaz record, that'd be fun. Jackie is just lurking. Jackie, thank you so much for the baked goods. Still working through them. Although the cookies the first night, we destroyed the box of cookies, the boxes of cookies you gave us. So, all right, I think I'm gonna wrap this up here. Again, tour was great. Again, thanks again to the Lakeshore Camp. Thanks again to Nick Bell. Thanks again to FM for helping out. Records coming out in May, unless something changes, but probably not. Thanks for everyone's support for for keeping an eye on what's going on in the Tense Machine camp. Yeah, we're pretty excited about this year. I know usually my emotions are difficult to read, but I'm pretty excited right now to see what the rest of this year has in store, especially with some of the things that we're looking at seem to, if they can come together. So again, if you've been in music for a while, you know that things can fall apart pretty quickly. Thanks again to Freak, runs Top Fuel Saloon. Again, he said he gave me this beanie / toque / slouchy here. He said it's got to wear it, so I'm wearing it. And yeah, Brendan will be on tomorrow. Dane will be on Wednesday. If you have any questions, just throw them into the chat here and try to answer them. You got a chance? All right. Thanks again, everybody. Have a good night.